And we're live.
Stop.
Hey, folks.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Patrick. We're the Breakaway Homesteaders.
Yep.
And it is Thursday Night Live.
Yay.
Today is the
23rd
of January. Hey, folks. We hope you're doing well. We are. Today's been a very stressful and long day. I'm trying to get some of my water.
I don't have one.
As long as you don't have the Wuhan.
I don't.
You can't have, well, if you refill it when you leave, that'd be fantastic. But, yeah, we're here. And we're glad that you're here, too. So, what's been going on the homestead for the past week?
I had a colonoscopy.
She had a colonoscopy.
Yay, butt cameras.
Yay, TMI.
So, it went well.
Good.
I have a very nice colon, according to my gastroenterologist.
Yeah. We got news that you are perfectly healthy as far as
my colon.
Everything goes.
Pretty much.
We had a scare the weekend before.
Yeah.
And had to go in. You had to get X-rays. They came back clear.
Yeah.
You had your colonoscopy, and then we're good to go.
Yeah.
And then the heater in our pump house.
Kind of, yeah, it like didn't kick on like it was supposed to.
Right.
So we were like, we had water, but it was like maybe like a third the pressure that it should be.
Right.
So we were a little worried about that, but we kicked the heater on, left it running overnight, like just dribbling out of the faucets, and by the next morning, it was like nothing had ever happened. So we think there might have been some ice in the line, but nothing hardcore enough to, freeze at all.
Which was good because it was like a day that it was very small, very low pressure.
Yeah. But luckily that turned out pretty good.
Yeah, happy that it wasn't anything major.
Yeah.
We didn't have to replace anything or redo anything. Because when we moved here 3 years ago, it's been 3 years?
We're in our fourth year.
We're in our fourth year, so it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Like at the pump, which
the well.
is like at the well, which is at the very front of our property.
The pump was still attached to the bottom end of the
thing.
Well, the hose was still intact.
But in terms of things on the top,
right,
there was absolutely
no pressure
nothing.
Tank, there was no T-bar. There was no switch, pressure regulator switch.
So Pat had to basically build.
Yeah. It was definitely
pump.
a learning experience. I'd never done anything like that before, but I do know how to do it now.
And it worked.
It's not cheap either to build a well system. We did get lucky the fact that the pump was there.
Yeah.
We did not pay for a new pump, but eventually that'll wear out.
Yeah, but then we had to build. We got like a storage shed thing to put around it.
2 years ago we had a cold snap, and it was
like 8 days below freezing.
Yeah.
Like, it was record setting for this area.
We had...
and it was like every time we got our water running, it froze again. And so we finally decided it was worth it to put some sort of structure around it. And so we did that.
Had a tree fall on top.
Yeah, but the tree fell on top of the shed.
Yeah, not the pump.
Not the pump. So it did its job. It is still functional. Yeah. As in, it's still standing and protecting our pump. You can still slide the door closed.
Yes.
But it did its job. It's just a little
dented. Y'all should have seen it 2 years ago, y'all. We had Christmas lights wrapped around the damn.
We had a tarp over it, and then underneath it, we had Christmas lights wrapped around the pressure tank so that it wouldn't freeze. And
no, they were not LEDs for anybody who has that.
Yeah, they were, let's put out some heat Christmas lights.
Hope you're doing well.
So it was very, I like to call it country ghetto.
Yeah.
But it worked, and can't knock it if it works. But we've moved up in the world a little bit, and so... But yeah, we had the water scare.
Yeah. So big announcement for those people who've watched us for a while, know our family situation with our son Huxley. I brought home cake today.
He did.
And cake has not been eaten yet, but I did bring home cake, and that's for reasons to celebrate the fact that today our son was finally diagnosed with autism.
Yep, he is autism level 2 with pretty heavy ADHD
and anxiety.
and anxiety. So all which apparently comes along with the autism. You normally have ADHD or anxiety or both, and he has both. It's good news in the sense that we finally have some answers.
What this means to us is there's finality and paperwork in place that is going to go into place for Huxley to get 100% the
Everything
help he needs. And we are going to get 100% the help we need to get educated on
autism and how to handle it and everything.
Like that. I mean, I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah, there's classes apparently for parents through the ABA. There was applied behavior or something, and we took in a lot of information today. There's classes for the parents. There's therapy for the parents. The pediatrician that we go to, they have respite services for the parents, so you will have somebody come out to your house that is trained in the disease or mental thing that your child has, and watch them for an hour or two while you go to the grocery store by yourself, or go catch a movie, or go out to dinner with your significant other. As of right now, we don't have any family here. It's just us.
So there's a couple channels out there. One's called Fathering Autism. They have a teenager, and they take those breaks, and you can tell when they take those breaks because they get some time away from.
They get rejuvenated.
100% taking care of their child. Daddy Curb for Cribs. I can't remember what it is. His son. He's got a older teenager son that he deals with as well. But there are several channels out there, and you know what? We may end up joining that crew. And making more videos on, as we learn more about it, to make more videos on homesteading, preparedness, hiking, everything. All the stuff we have plans on doing with autism. And a caveat to it.
So it was emotional.
Very emotional day.
For me especially, I've got some residual feelings, we'll go with that I feel like I failed him, that I did something wrong, and that's how he is why he is. And I know that's not true, but knowing something's true and believing it in your heart sometimes are two different things. So it's
part of mental for us as well.
Yeah, there were tears on both sides.
We were very happy.
It's good news because we can finally get everything that he needs.
Yes.
It's shit news in the fact that no parent ever wants to hear that something's wrong with their child.
Right. No parent wants to hear that your child's going to be dependent on you.
Indefinitely at this point.
Part of their lives, or most of their lives, or even all of it.
Being level 2 is moderate. She said level 1 is more what they don't use it as a diagnostic anymore, but Asperger's. It's been pulled from the DSM, so that's not a legit diagnosis anymore. But there's level 1, level 2, which is what Huxley is, and then level 3 would be you're completely nonverbal, self-harming.
You have to have somebody.
Yeah, and he's far from that. But it's rough, y'all.
You got your health results back from your DNA test.
I did. For Christmas, Pat got me a DNA test, and he did the health and ancestry. So, got the health results back from that. The only red flag that I have genetically is that I have a higher risk of getting high blood pressure. But all the cancers came back, either all low or typical, all that kind of stuff. My father was adopted, and we don't know anything about his adopted family. So for me,
and our son,
but especially for me and my peace of mind was, what kind of things do I need to be prepared for or start working to promote. I mean, I want to start being healthier anyway, but are there certain, supplements that I should be taking that'll help
Is there anything that's gonna
decrease
hold you
this
back
risk
anything
or,
like that? So,
stuff like that. So, like Pat comes from a huge family and they all still know each other.
yeah.
And so, I mean, he could probably trace anything he wanted to, where I don't have that luxury. So, got the health results back. We're still waiting on the DNA results. Those haven't come back in yet. So, we'll see ancestrally where I'm from.
Soon
But
enough.
yeah. So,
Probably within the next week.
I would think so, yeah.
So,
So, we had a lot of very high charged emotional stuff.
a lot of things came to fruition.
Yeah.
This week.
And I am flat out exhausted.
We're all exhausted. And Meg's has been up since 5 o'clock this morning. So she's definitely exhausted.
Yep. Had to be at work at dark 30.
So she's going to be with us throughout the first part of our show. But once we get on to the main topic, it's just going to be me. She's going to dip out.
I'm going to bug out and probably go fall asleep on the couch.
So, and then...
Or the bed. I don't know.
Or whatever.
Wherever.
So we're going to get into our role of the show and head into Your Health section. So we're back.
Oh, hold on real quick. Illiterate Inc. said probably don't want to do 23andMe. What was...
It was not 23andMe.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta look it up in my email.
I can't remember what it was.
Pat did the research and figured out which one is My Heritage.
Yeah.
And they have a health one, they have a DNA one, and then they have a health and DNA one. And then they also have extended services that you can buy that help you like build your family tree and find relatives and stuff like that.
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah.
She said she's happy for us.
We're happy. Well, I'm happy too. I'm just not at the happy yet, if that makes any sense.
Right.
I'm relieved, but there's still, like I said, a lot of emotional...
Time to digest and actually get going.
Yeah.
So tonight on the health section, we're going to talk about something we tried right after Christmas. And this is this is something you guys might agree with, might not agree with, whatnot. There is a half full, half empty.
Yeah, some people love them and swear by them. Some people say they're
fake. It's fake.
Fake.
It's not real.
Just nothing. So
why waste your money? Something like that. Can I try it? Yeah. I've never done it before. I've always wanted to do it, so I went ahead and did it and ordered it. We ordered,
but he got different ones than what I've used in the past.
Right, because it's it's a new day and age. These have been around for a while now, and so they're more of a premium product.
Yeah, I would say premium. It even says premium on the box.
Really?
Yes.
So what we did get was 2-in-1 premium foot pads. This is from Solely Soothe. Yeah, I even got the box right here. And what this is they are bamboo vinegar foot detox pads that you put on your feet.
Yep.
There's 28 in the box, so that means there's 14 per, and there's one set of each type.
Flavor.
Each flavor. So let me pull up some pictures here. Pictures Health Show. So this is what they're FDA approved, 100% natural, and GMO free. So we did good. And so what this particular box has 7 different, it's not flavors, 7 different types of.
I mean, they're flavor. To me, they're flavors. But yeah,
honestly, botanicals. If you look at it, rose mint, coconut, green tea, lavender, chamomile, and ginger. Now, I'll take this back off. Those are only 2 pictures I have of it. But when we did this, the first night we did this,
to say qualifying,
right?
I don't know about detoxing. I don't know about that aspect of it. Yeah. However, we started these and we both took one of each flavor. And the only one we have not done has been the coconut one.
We all did the same ones on the same night.
On the same nights.
Kind of to see how it went.
I will say on the night we did the mint, when I woke up in the morning, I could tell I hadn't been snoring. Like my nasal passages were clear.
Yeah.
But I will say we wore them for 3 nights straight, like a different flavor each night.
We
Got amazing sleep. Amazing sleep. Now, for granted, I also, because I was handing out the flavors, the first night we did lavender, the second night we did chamomile, and I think the third night we did the rose.
Yep.
So you've got your calming aspects in those.
Yeah, different aspects.
Yeah, we skipped a night because we just forgot.
Crappy.
And neither one of us slept well.
Horrible sleep. Did not sleep well at all.
Just couldn't get comfortable, shifting all over the place, moving around. Just woke up grumpy and just, it was not great. So, and then we did them that night.
So, confirm. I want you to confirm for me. First night we did lavender. How many hours did I sleep that night?
He slept 13 hours straight.
13 hours.
I can't remember the last time he went to bed at 8 o'clock and didn't get up until 9 something.
I have got to go to bed.
Yeah.
And they went on the bottom of the feet and
he passed out. I didn't even wake him up when I went to bed because I was not prepared to go to bed at 8 o'clock on a Friday night.
And so, you know what? Try this out. Put that on my feet. And sure enough, 9 o'clock the next morning,
he finally woke up. Yeah. So take that for what it is. You probably make them with just like, essential oils and pads on the bottom of your feet or something like that.
Right. And so on the inside of these pads, they have this powder. This powder is something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no actual
ingredients
on the box. However, but if they're FDA approved, they're they're
take it for what it is. Some people it goes back like last week we talked about the cupping, traditional medicines in places, traditional things that different cultures use. This is another one of those things.
Would you do it again?
For the sleep alone, if nothing else, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it detoxed me in that sense. Like that's what my organs are for. Yeah. I know that. But I got some damn good sleep.
Yeah.
And I needed it.
Yeah.
And they helped.
Mama Donna and I think the husband's here, Steve. Hello, Common Man. Hello, Mama Donna. Hello, Sybil. Again. Illiterate Ink. So the question is, and I know you guys are all dying to see the results. So I did take pictures, I did take video, and so I put together a small clip with 3 of the 7 different packs that we tried. She hasn't seen this yet, but she will now. So this is the video of kind of results. They all kind of look the same. We'll talk about it in a second. So
it was gross.
It was.
It was weird. Like it was hard.
It would leave this like syrupy stuff on the bottom of your feet. But of course, obviously, your feet sweat more than any other thing in your body.
Yeah.
Other than your armpits, maybe. But your feet
I would even
sweat.
venture that my feet sweat more than my armpits.
I would too.
Like me personally, because my feet, Pat won't touch my feet unless I go wash them first.
Put some sock on. Put some socks on.
I wear socks all the time.
And Crocs.
I mean,
great environment.
Anywho, and who has the feet issues, sir? Not these feet.
Keep them out of water.
That's what I thought. So take it for what it's worth. We enjoyed it. We like trying the different flavors. Definitely, like I feel like in terms, you could probably do it just using some essential oils and taping some lavender pads to your feet. We have like video inception on the screen right
inception.
now.
Sure is.
So yeah, it was fun.
You can get these off of Amazon. There's a big description there. There's a link to these items in our thing. In the description below.
They can't see you, but it was a good point.
I know. I'm gonna go to our website, www.breakawayhomesteader.us. And you can see here, as it loads,
Eventually. We need to update our picture.
What picture? We just did that picture. That's one of
What
the
is
waterfall. Why is it so small? Because you never sent me the actual picture.
I did too.
So on the left-hand side here, you can see the foot pads are right there. And if you're interested and check out our last video, the cupping that we did, the cups are there as well. So you have a link there to take you right to our Amazon page if you're so inclined. So, yeah.
We're back.
So that was the health section. So take it or leave it. It's something that...
you know, it was something that Pat had never done. It was new. He wanted to try, so we tried it.
Exactly.
I mean, nothing more, nothing less than that.
Hey, Canadian Timmy.
It's okay. We're
hanging
running
out.
our mouths.
Yeah. So that was the health section. That was the your health section. So
now we've got Instapot 2020. So I want to qualify with this, and you can back me up. Unless it's Chinese food, I don't eat leftovers.
No, she does not.
Like, it's just a thing for me.
I didn't think about that till you just said it, but she does not.
I typically do not eat leftovers. Maybe some cold pizza for breakfast the next morning, or Chinese food. That's it. Yeah. I'm very squiffy about my leftovers.
Excuse me, it's the cat. Get down.
And I ate leftovers of this. Like, full-on leftovers. Not just a nibble because it was there. With that being said, once Pat finds what he's going to put up...
I don't know if it's here or not. Instant Pot. There we go. A couple of pictures. We made... beef stew with 1 hour French bread.
Yeah.
And that was actually the before picture. This is the picture it came from the website. I'll put that up here.
Ours wasn't as gravy-y.
Yes, but we don't look for that either.
No, we don't. I liked it the way it was. It was a little more soupy.
It had some thickness to it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
But I mean, you can see the difference in our picture to that picture where like the liquid is further down. Like, I would much prefer that over like a gravy.
Yeah.
Like, just me personally.
So I'm gonna take that off.
Canadian Timmy, it was delicious.
It was really good. We had it for 2 nights in a row. I mean.
Yeah, and we still have leftovers in the fridge.
And we're gonna eat that too.
Yeah.
Because it was really that good. If display capture going up, we'll go to the actual website. So this particular recipe came from foodstoragemoms.com. If you've never been here before, this lady here down on the bottom right hand side, I can't remember her name. I hate those ads. Right here, I guess the left hand side. Linda runs this website, and she has all kinds of videos and every type of tips you can get to be frugal. And so the good thing about this is it's got all the steps, right? Follow the steps. It's got the recipe for the Instant Pot beef stew. But not only that, she also includes, hey, what will go good with this stew? Here, I know. How about bread? So she included the French bread recipe in the same article.
And it was pretty good. Like, I came home from work with the kid, and Pat already had bread rising, and it went in the oven, and it was done.
The bread and the stew was actually done within a few minutes of each other.
Yeah, the bread was done first, but
so everything took about an hour to do.
Yeah.
Just because we were also waiting on the Instant Pot to come up to pressure.
Yeah.
The second time. If it was just 20 minutes from there, they would have been done at the same time.
Yeah.
But it actually takes time for your Instant Pot to come up to pressure before the timer actually starts for it. And I would definitely do that again. Try it again.
I would too.
So.
And it's been cold. Like, we baked, maybe been reaching
cold.
40. It's hanging out in the low 20s at night.
Yeah.
Thus the icy water pipes the other day.
Yeah.
So it was just nice. And the second night, I made what did I make? Garlic and herb biscuits to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we had given what was left of the French bread to the chickens,
Mm-hmm.
and so I made more bread items to go with it. But yeah, it was good. The beef came out tender.
Yeah.
The carrots still had some. Even the celery still had some crunch to it. Like it was cooked. You could tell it was
cooked perfectly.
but it wasn't mushy because
No.
I can't stand
It was not
that. Like
overcooked.
it was just
Perfect.
I don't like soup and I don't like leftovers, and I ate it. All, like it was good. It was good.
So that's Instant Pot 2020. Now, next week's show, she's going to choose the
I'm gonna
recipe.
choose the recipe.
So
We'll see.
that means you're going to have to get your stuff together.
I know.
And all that. So I've got all the video for that. I plan to do a compilation of that video with baking the bread and making the soup or the stew at the same time. And I'll probably do that tomorrow and put that out there so you guys can follow along with that recipe.
You won't do it tomorrow.
Oh, I won't do it tomorrow. That's right. That's right. Doc Ferris is in the room. I don't know if he is. If he's not, he should be. Either way, we're going to visit him tomorrow. We have a road trip ahead of us.
So he will not be putting out a video tomorrow.
No, he will not. I will not. So that was Instant Pot 2020. Now, next up is the newsreel. I picked three news
Articles.
stories.
Yeah.
3 news stories that you probably wouldn't hear on the news. And very interesting news articles is that. So I'm going to push up the newsreel. And I'm back. Let me get my notes up here. Hello.
Wrong notes.
Right? No, it was the right notes. So news slideshow. I'm going to start with this right here. Let me get my notes up. All right. Police arrested just one person during the protest that brought more than 20,000 Second Amendment activists to Virginia. One arrest.
I know.
God bless them. And, showing restraint and showing what true people who own guns legally are capable of doing.
Yeah. I know I've seen a lot of articles since then that it was like, yeah, nothing happened. And
Yeah,
we don't understand why.
The protesters, thousands of whom attended on Monday's rally in Richmond, heavily armed, voiced their outrage and proposed legislation that would expand gun control in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The demonstration on Martin Luther King Jr. Day featured a high-profile gun rights advocates, politicians, and conservative media commentators. Shortly after 2 p.m., streets were mostly clear of demonstrators. Roads were open again to traffic. Approximately 7,000 people entered the weapon-free zone within the Capitol Square, and another 15,000 stood on the streets outside the gate, the Virginia Mercury reported. That's the name of the paper. Some attendees were even seen removing trash and other litter items from the streets as they left.
Which is amazing to
Seriously?
me. Like, yeah.
These are these are what Americans are about. Police reported just one arrest during the more than 3-hour-long demonstration in which thousands of protesters held gun signs and Gadsden flags, chanted "We will not comply," sang the national anthem, and recited the Pledge of Allegiance over and over again. Officers arrested 21-year-old Michaela Beschler for allegedly violating the state's anti-mask law after continued wearing of a bandana despite warning to uncover his face.
It's a her.
Her.
So that was the arrest.
That was it. It had nothing to do with guns, had nothing to do with anything like that, and that was pretty much it. So, to continue on with this story, as a prospect of a full gun confiscation measures enacted by the government of Virginia seems more likely than ever, the West Virginia legislature has introduced a resolution, which, if passed, would grant constitution-friendly Virginia counties the right to secede from the Commonwealth of Virginia and join West Virginia. The legislation, which was introduced on Tuesday, will provide for an election to be held for the admission of certain counties and independent cities of the Commonwealth of Virginia to be admitted to the state of West Virginia as constituent counties. Constituent counties, sorry. Constituent counties. They said that we extend the invitation to any constituent county or city of the Commonwealth of Virginia to be admitted to the body politic of the state of West Virginia under the conditions set forth in our state constitution, specifically the consent of a majority of the voters of such county or city voting upon such proposition. The measure also assured Virginia citizens that their firearms rights shall be protected to the fullest extent possible under the federal and state constitutions. So, yeah.
Good old West Virginia.
Good old West Virginia. And finally.
Oh, I heard about this.
The National Weather Service routinely warns people about all types of precipitation following rain, snow, and hail. But temperatures are dropping so low in South Florida that the forecasters warned residents on Tuesday about falling iguanas. Apparently, with the temperature drops for these cold-blooded animals, so does their blood flow, causing them to technically freeze. Some pass away during a freeze, but most come back to life and start to move as the temperature rises.
I don't know what I would do if I got hit in the head with a falling iguana.
They were everywhere. So these people that
that one back there is a pretty big boy.
Right, these people were clearing the streets. They were storing them in the back of the truck and putting them in the field. So when they got either they were dead or
they wake back up.
So people wouldn't run over them with their vehicles.
I mean,
3 things that you haven't heard of in the news. What do you think of tonight's news story?
Something. Good old West Virginia.
Right? Good old West Virginia. So that's the news for this week. And next week, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of updates on what's going on throughout the country and the historic impeachment. What are you doing?
Scrolling it down for you.
So next is going to be the articles of the week. And we're back. Get up the display capture, and we will go to Megan's article of the week. Actually, yeah, we'll do Megan's first. This is the article Megan sent me that she said she was going to talk about. The Wuhan virus kills 4th patient, infects hospital staff amid fear of super spreader. This was 2 days ago.
Yeah. The one thing that just kind of caught my eye about it is it goes through and talks about the caregivers and how they, 15 medical staff, and of course this was just a couple days ago. Who knows, I don't know what that number is now, just in Wuhan alone.
These people, full battle rattle, they got Tyvek suits on, they got full face masks, full face shields, and everything like that. Contracted.
Well, I don't know if they were like that beforehand.
They probably were.
It has, what I've seen, it has a week-long incubation period of people just coughing.
Right.
That's a lot of germ spreading before you know something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, you go to the emergency room here or your doctor's office here, they're not in full battle rattle just to go see if, little Johnny has strep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it really, the caregiving aspect of it kind of...
It makes you wonder, the type of heroes that work these type of jobs. Yeah. They go, we're going to care for you and give the risk of our own health, our own
detriment,
to help you, and I may lose my life in the process, but I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah,
those are some heroes right there in my book. I'm just saying. Anything else you want to say about that?
Not really.
All right, now mine coincides with this. Brad from Full Spectrum Survival, if you're a Patreon to him, whether you give him $1 on Patreon, we'll send you in your email box a list of links every day of what's going on in the survival community. And this is mine right here. How to survive a pandemic survival kit supplies. And the big takeaway from this Link right here is the kit itself. You got a pandemic survival kit list, and talks about everything you want and everything you have in there. It has a link to it. That's what I like about it. You click on any of these links right here, bam, it's going to take you to the place where it's supposed to be. These are N95 masks. Most people don't wear them unless it's going to be a pandemic. You don't, trust me, you don't want to breathe out of one of these masks unless you have to, because they are a more labored mask to be breathing.
I hate masks in general. They fog my glasses, and it just pisses me off.
For eyes. So, is it that one? Yeah. So, and it's got a list there, and we will talk more about this next week. I just got off the line with Full Spectrum Survival, Brad from Full Spectrum Survival, and he agreed to be on our show next week, and we're going to talk about the things you're going to need and quarantine procedures and sick rooms in case something happens. And this is going to be kind of a repeat because both Brad and I have had the flu or flu-like symptoms and sickness in the past month. And it's weird.
I quarantined you.
I quarantined. Yes, you did. And,
I told him to get out and go to the trailer.
Yeah, and that's one thing we did. We'll talk about that next week as well. So, also, my good friend from work, the one with the kids, she got the flu.
Did she?
And she had the flu shot.
Really?
So, oh, yeah. Yep. She's got kids with diabetes.
Oh,
and,
that one? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That poor girl. So those are the links of the week. Now, guess what we have this week? We have a comment of the week. So So we had some comments on our last video. Anytime you guys want to comment on our videos, feel free to do that. Let us know what you think. If you have any opposition or anything like that, let us know what you think as well. We take all comments in stride, and are willing to admit that we're wrong if we're wrong. And the comment of the week, let me pull it up here. Stop bouncing, please.
It was all the way at the bottom.
Nope, comment of the week pick. It's right here. This comes from Popeye Gordon, and we did some exchanging back and forth. He sent some interesting articles, but this is the comment of the week. Everything you need to know about GMO labeling in 2020. You may recall in 2017 the government passed a national genetically modified foods labeling law to have one uniform standard for labeling GMOs, also referred to be bioengineered.
And you see that now. Like, there's stuff that we've seen in the store, and it may be small,
right,
but it's on there.
It's there.
And so it's just, definitely something else to look for when you're buying stuff.
So, Popeye Gordon, we do appreciate your comment and gave you a thumbs up there. And we have been on a small dialogue back and forth since that time frame. Other people did comment. I know your mother commented and everything like that. I didn't post her comment up because I don't want people bouncing off her comments, simply because I don't want like a harassment situation.
Yeah.
So anytime you guys comment on our stuff, it is YouTube. Everybody sees it. It's 100% public, transparent, and so they see what you put down there. Don't put down something that you're going to regret later if there's somebody out there that might oppose it, because there's going to be haters out there that are going to try to counter
pick fights.
Yeah, and
Trolls.
if they do, trolls. If they do, you just let it slide. Grain of salt. No one's going to hurt anything. Sticks and stones. All right. So that was the comment of the week. So moving right along, we're about to go into our break and then go into our main topic. What we do here is we run the show. We also run a website. That's breakawayhomesteader.us. On that website has a public resource of knowledge and information, including stuff on pandemics, epidemics,
natural disasters, just everything.
So we currently fund that site, but at the same time, we also have other avenues to prop up that site as well. And so we encourage you guys to go to our Etsy store. I'll put up there's a link down below that you can look at. But with these shows, we're going to give a product of the week to show you guys what we have in our stock, what's new and upcoming, according to Etsy standards, because it's all vintage stuff. So let's get right into what our product of the week is. And I'm going to go back. I wish these things would be so bigger. Display, and we're going to go to our Etsy store. So today's game is A Question of Scruples. And here are the pictures here. This game was made in 1986 by Milton Bradley. It's a card game. And yes, no, depends. What would you do? How would your friends react? And we actually have a commercial for this I'm going to play here in a second. Well, this is to show you that our products are always complete. We don't send anything unless it's complete. If it's not complete and the parts aren't reusable, it gets thrown away or burned or recycled or whatever. Or it goes back to whatever first store we can put it in or whatnot.
Sometimes we scavenge them just for pieces to be able to sell a
That's
complete
true.
set.
Hi-Ho Cheerios is one that normally doesn't have all the cherries in it.
Yeah.
And we'll grab a couple sets and then use those cherries to make complete sets. But nope. Sorry, the dog's trying to get up on top. So I'm going to go ahead and play the commercial break for Scruples. If you guys anytime want to check out what we got in the store, the link is below. And we are updating our inventory regularly. And if you can see behind me, you see all those games? None of those are in our inventory on the store.
Yeah.
It's a slow process. We both work full-time jobs. This is just something we're putting out there to help prop up our website, so we don't have to pay for it in pocket. And so.
Plus, we like sharing the fun.
True.
Games are fun.
Games are fun, especially when you're spending time with your family. It's not sitting in front of the TV all the time.
Yeah.
It's sitting down at the table and enjoying.
No electronics and just
using your brain instead of
having fun.
Yeah. So here's that commercial break.
The game is a question of scruples.
Your friend set you up with a blind date. He's not exactly what you had in mind. Do you go through with it?
Depends.
On what?
Oh, whether or not he sees me first.
Hey, what if he's got a great mind?
Then you go out with his mind.
Hey, looks aren't everything.
Prove it.
You married him, didn't you?
The game is a question of scruples. You're in a sporting goods store. You see someone obviously shoplifting. Do you report him? A Question of Scruples from Milton Bradley. It's a game and more.
So that was a very kind of risky, almost
risque,
late 80s commercial. I enjoyed that commercial. It was cool, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the game is about. So what's going on in the comments? Always Steve.
Doc says, how to survive, don't be around people.
Yeah.
Falling iguanas are tropical fainting goats. And, yeah. Doc Ferris asked about his cat several times. He's fine.
Yep.
Then Always Steve, there are cases in Washington State and Texas now. Canadian Timmy said, right, I've heard that too. Wondering when it'll get to Canada.
Yeah. If you go to Full Spectrum Survival, look that up in the search box. The latest update on this virus that's out there. Brad from Full Spectrum has briefed it. It's a great video. Go check that out.
Always see the flu shot this season isn't effective against the strain that's out there. Michael Nason said, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So flu strains, there's 4 strains. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. So the current flu shot out there can only cover, I think, 3 of the 4. So it's still out there, and it still mutates. It doesn't mean it's not going to be effective or not. So, like I said, the girl I work with, she had the flu shot. All her family has had the flu shot.
And she still got the flu.
She still got the flu.
It's crazy.
So, we're about to get into our topic. Megan's going to go refill my water.
and then pass out on something.
And they're just going to go away. I'm going to get my notes up and prepared, and we'll get started on a quick briefing on what's going on currently today. Like I said, Brad had the latest update with the University of A&M person who has this, allegedly. And what we're going to talk about today is going to be answering several questions about what you need to know about epidemics, pandemics, viruses, and the current Wuhan situation. So I'm going to get this chair out of the way, and I'm going to get in the middle of the screen. And so anybody have any questions, feel free to ask them. Anybody know what's behind me? These are all, if you're a Patreon member to Full Spectrum Survival, at a $10 donation, you get survival cards. And they have pictures, great pictures, and on the back of them they have descriptions of what that survival card's about. What do you think of the survival cards?
Oh, I like them.
Yeah.
And they're pretty.
Great pictures.
I mean, I would
High quality, waterproof.
Yeah. I find them in random places around our house.
That's the bug out bag I'm building. That's my crossbow. Those are the games that we have. This right here, that's our house electrical panel. Yes, it's exposed, but the door is always shut. And there's a gate in front of it, so nobody gets back here if you're concerned about that.
Are you giving a tour of your office?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know what's going on. So I'm just waiting for my water.
Oh.
So good night, babe.
No.
Love you. All right. And get my notes up here. Yeah, all right. Notes are up. And let's get this party started. So, tonight's show is about, and the main topic is what you need to know about pandemics. Thursday Night Live. You can see the graphic here. Has a whole bunch of different names inside of it. Germs, infected, chemistry, infectious, surgeon, uniform, healthcare, protective, prevention, illness, virus, laboratory, disease, so on and so forth. And so let me bring down this caption, topic image. I'm going to unlock that and make it smaller and put it down. Actually, put it up here because we got to figure out where we're going to put our questions for tonight. And so, I'm going to pull up the health slideshow. That's not it. News, topic, question slideshow. So, you should be able to see a question down here. What is an epidemic? We're going to start there. Let me pull up my notes here and we'll get going. So, what is an epidemic? An epidemic refers to an increase, often sudden, in the number of cases of disease above what is normally expected in a population or area. So, give an example. I live in Vass, North Carolina, which is close to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fayetteville is expected to have so many flu cases per year. If there is an expanse or a tripling of that number, it may become an epidemic because more people in that local area get sick. Not necessarily the counties or the states around us at the same rate we are. That means it's an epidemic. So, next question is, what's a pandemic? So, what a pandemic refers to an epidemic that has spread over several countries or continents, usually affecting a large number of people. And the point of tonight's show is to get you informed on these things so you know what the difference between an epidemic, a pandemic is, a virus is, the coronavirus. And we're going to get into these details that people have questions about but don't seem to be answering the common low-level questions people want to get info about. So, next question is going to be, what is a virus? Viruses are microscopic parasites that lack the capacity to thrive and that lack the capacity to thrive and reproduce outside the host of the body. So the capacity to thrive doesn't mean they're dead if they leave the body. If you cough and you have a virus, it can still remain alive in the open air for a certain period of time, depending on what that virus is. Surfaces of things, your toothbrush, your pillow, stuff like that. If somebody else has used a pillow after you've been sick, they may get sick because that virus may still be on that. They may ingest it somehow and get that virus. Let's pull this away here real quick and talk about the basis of what's really going on right here. Chinese authorities have so far said that almost 600 people have become infected and 17 people have died from the newly identified disease since it was first identified on December 31st. That's the beginning. That's New Year's Eve. The outbreak started in the city of Wuhan, China, and has so far spread to 7 other countries, including South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, and the United States. So, disease modeling experts from Imperial College London suggest China's case numbers are conservative, meaning they're not really reporting the amount of people who may actually be sick. Issuing a report on Wednesday, that was yesterday, stating that 4,000 people could currently be infected. And as of yesterday, the city of Wuhan and a couple other places have been quarantined. And go to Full Spectrum Survival to learn more about that and what's going on up there. So, let's see what's going on here. So, back up with the questions. Topic questions. What is a coronavirus? All right. Coronaviruses are a family of viruses that cause infections in the respiratory system. There are seven known coronaviruses, including the newly identified 2009, and it gives the information SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. This is exactly what this new virus is. So SARS was the severe acute respiratory syndrome was the coronavirus behind the deadly outbreak in 2002 and 2003, which infected 8,098 people and killed 774 people. If you remember, Hong Kong had the biggest number of deaths and fatalities at that time. Same thing, MERS, M-E-R-S, also known as the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, first identified in 2012, is also another recent and ongoing coronavirus outbreak, with cases reported as recently as this week. Of the 2,494 cases and 858 deaths associated with MERS, most occurred in the Arabian Peninsula. The Wuhan coronavirus is different from these diseases. However, and it has never been seen in people before. So this virus has been identified before, but it was only animal to animal, and it now has been transferred from animal to human and then human to human. So every time this transfers, it mutates or comes on a little stronger or gets weaker in some cases. So that's going to be the next question. The next question is, how deadly is the Wuhan coronavirus? The short answer is nobody knows. If you look at the number of people reported to be infected, approximately 600, though this number is sure to rise, and compared to the number of deaths, 17, you can calculate a number called the case fatality rate, which describes how deadly a disease is. Right now, the case fatality rate is a little under 3%. That means 3% of the people who become infected with the new coronavirus will die. But this number is almost meaningless right now, since we don't really know how many people are infected and how many deaths will occur in the coming weeks. One thing we do know is, like many other illnesses, These patients are more likely to die if they are old or suffering from other diseases. So, give you an example, Wuhan is under and a couple other cities, but Wuhan specifically is under quarantine, and that's 11 million people. Yeah, that's the population of Wuhan. So, even if you were to take 2%, because it says under 3%, if you were to take 2%, that's still 220,000 people that are going to die if all these people were infected. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just an example of how they think this little percentage. You think if you get sick, there's only 2% chance of going to die. It's not going to happen. It happens. So how did this outbreak start? I think I'm getting ahead of myself. And I'm going a little fast because I want to get through it, because we're almost upon an hour. So how did this outbreak start? The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, says the initial case of this virus, coronavirus, are linked to the Hunan seafood market in Wuhan. The outbreak likely started from a spillover incident when the virus was passed from animal to human. The spillovers happen through close human to animal contact, especially in markets where live and dead animals are sold for food. Ebola likely spilled over to humans from bats and non-human primates, aka eating monkey meat. MERS spilled over to humans from camels, and SARS spilled over from palm civets, small mammals considered a delicacy in China. The Wuhan market is shut down as of January 1st to limit the spread of this disease, this coronavirus, but more cases have since been identified, meaning the virus can also be spread from person to person. And so one question and one thing people may have been seeing a lot is a lot of articles about snakes. And I put on their snakes question mark because pause here real quick. Always sees they quarantined 4 more cities in China around there. Canadian Timmy said, did China use military to do enforced quarantine? Probably. I don't think anybody has enough force to quarantine cities like that unless it's part of the military. Total around 25 million in population are being kept in quarters. It's mandatory quarantine shut down all transportation in and out of these cities. They're saying because people are eating not fully cooked bats and snakes. And I have that snake thing right here. The transmission of this previous virus that's related to this was in bats and snakes in previous studies, but was never a human transferable disease. And so, if you've seen things related to snakes, here's the actual reason behind it. So, in an academic article published on Wednesday, that was yesterday, Chinese researchers reported genetic similarities between this coronavirus and a coronavirus found in snakes. Notably, this article was a preprint and hasn't yet been peer-reviewed or vetted in any way. What's more, other scientists are skeptical on whether the virus can jump between cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals or hosts. So the snake theory is just that. It's just a theory. Until you see an official rollout from the CDC, the World Health Organization, saying this is patient zero. This is the animal it came from. That's when you'll know for sure what's true and what's not. Trust me, I'm sure they want to know where it came from so they can look at it for other animals that actually have it and they can create a vaccine from that, right? So, how does this disease spread? Scientists are still trying to figure this out. It's not clear how the virus is transmitted or how easily it can move from person to person. We do know it moves from person to person, not just animal to person, because at least 15 health workers in the Wuhan caring for sick patients have also become sick. And some of the infected never visited the seafood market. And so it is human to human, which is why it's crazy, because it's 31st of December. This is less than 3 weeks ago, or actually 3 weeks and a couple of days ago. And it's already gotten this far. And so this is very scary, folks. My wife sent me a meme earlier today, and it had the medieval guy who would pick up the bodies. They'd have the big beaks that would store herbs to block the smell of the dead bodies, and that picked up the bodies. But the meme basically said 1720, 1820, 1920, and 1920 being the Spanish flu. Now 2020 rearing its head, that there's a theme going on here. So, should I start wearing a mask? Is the next question. Coronavirus is typically spread through the air when a person sneezes or coughs, just like the flu. If this disease works in the same way, face masks might offer some protection. The type of mask matters, though. Face masks with respiratory valves, the one we saw earlier, is the N95 mask, are more effective than regular paper surgical masks. So the latter is better than nothing, since the droplets from coughs and sneezes tend to end up on the surfaces other people touch. Frequent hand washing is also a good idea. So don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose, don't touch your mouth, wash your hands. How is this going to affect America? And when I did these notes, it was before we found out about the dude in Texas that apparently, allegedly has this coronavirus. So, is America safe? Answer is no, nobody's safe. According to the CDC, the immediate health risk to the general American public is considered, in this quotation, considered low at this time. They'll continue to say that until they can't say it anymore. Only one case of of this virus in the U.S. has been reported. I made these notes earlier today. A Washingtonian man with mild pneumonia who the state's Department of Health says is recovering well. The biggest risk for infection is people living in or traveling around Wuhan, China. We know that's not the case anymore. Now, one thing about China right now is they are going into a new year. It's a Chinese New Year. They're going into a new year. So people are trying to celebrate the new year. How is that? How's that going to affect everything? So, Saturday, January 25th, that's the Saturday coming up, we'll see a Lunar New Year celebrations across China. Hundreds of millions of people are expected to travel to and from China in the coming days, which experts worry could accelerate this outbreak, which I think is why they're doing the actual lockdowns of these cities now. But that's just my opinion. Next question. What's being done to contain this coronavirus? Right now, there's no specific treatment for this Wuhan virus, coronavirus. There's no vaccine. On Thursday, that's today, all travel to and from Wuhan has been shut down, including flights and passenger train services. Two other Chinese cities, Hunan and Inzhou, are also on lockdown, and Steve just said two more. All passengers will be routed through. Will be routed through international airports in 5 cities. So there's only 5 cities that are allowed to take people in from this area: Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. And the first stop they're going to do before they go through customs is a health screening for this disease. Moderna, that's Moderna, a manufacturer of vaccines, announced on Thursday that it received a grant of an undisclosed amount of money from the Coalition of the Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, CEPI, to begin developing a vaccine for the new virus. So that is what is currently happening to find out what's going on as far as a vaccine goes, whatnot. Our vaccines are in the hands of a private company. That sounds awesome and profitable. And yeah. Maybe corrupt. I don't know. So those were the questions I had. Those are the questions that I wanted to put it out there now so you know exactly what it is, how it's developing, what's going on, the terminology, the difference between a virus, a coronavirus, epidemic, and pandemic. Now that we got there, I'm happy to announce the next show we do on Thursday. We are going to talk about preparedness lists, things you want to have on hand. Doesn't mean you have to wait till that point. We want you to get prepared now. We're going to talk about building a sick room and specifically being quarantined and what that looks like. So Brad from Full Spectrum Survival is going to be on our show next week, on our live show, and we are going to sit down and talk about all the things. So if you have questions about that, I'm going to post a video beforehand with a link to his show or to his channel and to my channel, and we're going to discuss the steps you need to take to keep yourself and your family safe. Right now, you need to stick with the flu. We are only a little over a month into the winter season. Still 2 more months before we are out of winter, right? So stick with the flu. Stick with what you know. If you find the symptoms for the flu, you'll easily be able to find the symptoms for this coronavirus because the symptoms are almost the same. Big question that pops up, a lot of people ask, if I have a flu shot, am I covered? No, this does not. The flu shot does not cover any coronavirus. It's a completely different type of deal. So stick with the flu. It's still flu season, so if you should be looking for any signs of cold, cough, or fever. Avoid it at all costs. Say something. If you see someone who's sick, seems sick, ask them. Say, hey, are you sick? That's the first question I ask people who cough around me. Are you sick? Do you think you're sick? Do you think you might be coming down with something? If there are people you work with, tell them to go home. They don't need to be there to endanger you or anybody around you. As a matter of fact, if you're not sick. If they linger, you need to tell somebody in charge and say, hey, look, this person's sick. I think he's sick. This person needs to go home, or people are going to get sick. I work in a schoolhouse, and there's 60 people in my building at one time, right? And so all it takes is one person to wipe everybody out. Do something. If you feel like you're getting a cold or flu or other symptoms, do the right thing and remove yourself from getting others sick. Go see a medical professional. Make sure they have everything on record, so if anything happens, you can legally say, I did everything I could to prevent the spread of this whatever. Because if you were ever told one day, hey, I thought I had the flu, and somebody tells you, no, you've got the Wuhan coronavirus. Why didn't you tell me about it? You know, you just went out in Walmart, coughed on everything, whatnot. And you say, no, I went to my health care professional, and they told me I had the flu, or whatnot. And that way you can defend yourself on that. What are the telltale signs behind the scenes? So the CDC, the WHO, they're going to hold on to these things as long as they can until they have to announce that you have to stay at home or that it's already spread across the country or whatnot. I'm not trying to panic anybody, because the possibilities are there. It happened with the Spanish flu in 1920, between 1918 and 1920. So keep an eye out for a couple signs. Situational awareness is key. Look at other people. If you're in a room and everybody has a mask on except for you, something's wrong. So here's a couple signs. if your medical facilities, if your schools or your hospitals are posting signs or sending emails out stating that don't come in unless it's absolutely necessary. So your hospital will be your first place, or clinic will be, hey, or your insurance company. The hospital, if most counties have their own hospital. If it's to the point there, they'll announce to the local radio station, the local news teams, hey, there's a larger case of flu than normal here. We don't want anybody else to get sick, so don't visit the hospital unless you absolutely have to, unless it's an absolute emergency. That's why nobody goes to the ER unless they absolutely have to, because you don't want to get sick from the person that's next to you, right? For schools, you'll get an email in your inbox saying we have an unusual amount of students missing. And don't be afraid to call the office of your school and say, I'd like to know what percentage of the school right now is sick. How many people are out due to them being sick? Because your kids can carry viruses a lot easier without getting sick, but they can be carriers and transmit it to you, to the elderly, or to younger babies and children that can succumb to these diseases a lot more than you and I can. Public school shutdowns. If the school shuts down, it's time to shut your house down. Just saying. Public locations. If your public library shuts its doors and says, we can't open our doors right now, our staff is sick, and or there's too many people with a sickness, and we have to shut our doors until a certain time passes. Or we have to clean our facilities with antibacterial cleaning solutions to kill something because too many people have gotten sick. Food courts, no. Don't go to the mall. Trust me. Do your basic situational awareness. And so next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have a little special live show with Brad from Full Spectrum Survival, and we're going to talk about the things you might want to consider preparing for. I know this is not a prepper channel. We don't tend to be a prepper channel. But at some point, it's not going to be prepping. It's what you need to do now to protect yourself. There's no prepping involved because it's already here. Preppers prepare for something to happen. When it's already happening, it could be too late. And so we're going to talk about the things you're going to need to get, you're going to want to get, things you're going to need to put up a sick room, an isolation chamber, or something related to that, and things you'll need as a family if you decide to quarantine or will be quarantined. And again, if you go to his channel, he really lays it out. What would happen if an official came up to your door today, knocked on the door and says, you can't leave your house for the next 3 days, 7 days, 21 days. What would you do? Would you be prepared? Would you have enough food? I know these people in China. That's a lot of people. 25 million, according to the old way Steve. People being told you can't leave your home, or you can't leave your city, or you can't do this or that. Eventually, chaos will ensue. And you can't hold away 25 million people. They don't just volunteer. They're told by force. And so that's our show for tonight. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, I'm going to go through the comments here, and then we're going to wrap up. So, always Steve says, bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet. Mighty Python joke. Canadian Timmy says, when you say lockdown, is that the same as quarantine? Yes and no. A quarantine is forced, or self-imposed quarantine is technically a lockdown. So, here's if you decide to do it yourself, it's a lockdown. You are removing yourself from the situation. You're removing yourself from being exposed to other people, but not exposing yourself to them. And you choose to stay in place for the sake of letting it pass. You're letting the storm pass, and while the storm passes, you're staying in a safe spot. So you know for a fact that you won't get that disease or virus or whatnot. So, I only got these, I only go to these stores at 6 a.m. because I don't trust the people trust people to stay home when they are sick. And that's the biggest issue here. Is every single American is in for the check. The single family, the single parent household is a thing of the past, and both parents have to work in order to make ends meet, right? And so that's one part of being prepared. That's one part of homesteading, being frugal, whatnot, is to think ahead and prepare for something to happen. So Canadian TV said, "Yep." Canadian TV said, "No school equals get worried." Exactly. When public services, public schools stop doing their services, there's a reason behind it, and those are the telltale signs. Before the CDC or them come out and say, "Hey, well, there's really a problem here," and by that point, it could be too late. You could be sick. And so we really hope you join us next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Full Spectrum Survival. It's going to be on my channel here, and we'll have a whole bunch of examples, pictures. I got a whole show planned, and the works on the way to get that done. So there's only 9 people watching now. Yeah, he's got over 1,300 subscribers to his channel. Not 1,300, 135,000. So expect to see numbers into the hundreds. So you might not be able to get your comments in, but I promise you one thing: we'll go through the comments one by one. If anybody has questions, we'll do our best to answer them. If we cannot answer them, we will get back to you, and then we will also put out our email addresses to send those to in case your stuff they can answer. So speaking of that, all my information is down at the bottom of the page. You want to send me an email, breakawayhomesteader@gmail.com. If you want to send us something in the mail, a product to review, anything like that, our P.O. Box information is inside there as well. Our information on our website's on there. Go there, check it out, look at what we have on there so far. We are building the site back up. It's been shut down for almost a year. We're putting it back up and use the information to your advantage. And so that's all I have for tonight. Canadian TV says, "It's just my wife and I. Should I work on making a quarantine room?" Good question. Great question for next week. If you have the space, I'd say yes, but you need to know what kind of supplies you need. My link of the week is how to survive a pandemic. The link is in the description below. How to survive a pandemic, survival kit supplies. In that survival kit, we'll talk about these next week as well, but it has all the things you need for survival rooms, as well as plastic sheeting, duct tape, HEPA air filters, portable toilets, plastic trash bags. We're going to go through all this stuff next week. So keep your head on the swivel, keep your eyes on the news, and I would recommend, and matter of fact, we'll do this now. I know it's prolonging. It's prolonging everything, but I'm generally concerned for us. This is our community here. We want to make sure everybody stays safe. We don't want to hear somebody's gotten sick because they didn't have the proper information, right? Let me pull the display capture up. I'm going to make this full screen. I'm going to get rid of topic image. Display capture. Oh, there it is. Unlock. Let me get this full screen here. Well, as full screen as I can get it. Order. Transform. Fit the screen. Okay. That's as large as I can make it. Let me get the questions off of there. Topic questions off of there. So this is the link I was just telling you about. There's something called, I was trying to do it on that, but RSOE. EDIS. RSOE EDIS. It's Emergency and Disaster Information Service. Look that up. Go to their alert map. Click on their alert map. So you got North America. This company is based out of Hungary, the country Hungary, and it's very slow right now. Click on North America there, so the map for North America will pop up. And what this does is it gives you the information on what's going on. Let me. So you have your alert map here. These are the one tools I use. And for some reason, here we go. You can see here all the different biomarkers of what's going on around the world. Shows you the earthquakes that happen, wildfires that happen, so on and so forth. Now, I was on this site earlier today, and there was a link on the top, and what the link showed, North America. What's going on here? There was a red marker here. It's not there now, but I'm sure it will be back up. And there's going to be a red link up there. It was there earlier today. They must have been testing the system, but it was a real-time map on the tracking of this particular Wuhan coronavirus. And what it does is it throws out a map and shows you what cities are going in and out of Wuhan, China, for flight maps and the locations that may have infected people. That has since earlier today gone away, and I was tracking it there, but I would check that out tomorrow. So that's it. I'm really done here, guys. I hope you guys have a good one and tune in next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Thursday, right here. Be here. It's going to be big. There'll be several hundred people in the chat and in the show. And it's going to be information we want to know about. So I'm Patrick from Breakaway Homestead, and I'll see you next Thursday.